Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Rick Vavro and Austin Underground. Yes, today is my 40th birthday. Thank y'all for that. I'm going to take that down because you can obviously see it behind me as well. But tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking this morning, get your questions in. Obviously, I'm Blake Monroe, joined by Bobby Burton, Jerry Hamilton.
If you've never seen Blake in person, he's aging incredibly well. He only looks 39.
I appreciate that, Jerry.
He was about 34 before all the Colts injuries this year. That put about 5 years onto his life right there.
I bet that did. I bet that did. Nothing is more difficult than watching your kids have issues, what have you. Blake, happy birthday, buddy. And this comes from your wife, Krista. She says, make sure Blake knows that we're all caring about him and happy for him, and can't wait to see what the next decade handles here in the 40s for Blake Monroe. Well, congratulations, bud. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, we got a lot to talk about this morning besides my birthday, and Sark met with the media yesterday, guys. Got a clip I'm going to play here in just a moment regarding the spring game and tampering and all that good stuff. But first, I wanted to get y'all's key takeaways before we get into that.
Well, there's some nuanced pieces. I mean, there was an injury that I think Jerry wants to talk about because he had some intel on that. But my biggest takeaway yesterday, really, after seeing the whole thing, is that Sark, I think, was very, very happy with how the coaching turnover turned out. In other words, and I've been there before where you have a turnover of a lot of people in your organization, or not a ton, but enough. And you're not real sure if it turned out the way you wanted to, or it wasn't quite right. At least he showed a lot of optimism that he felt really, really confident about what he was able to do in that coaching turnover category, in my opinion. Mark Orfe, he's clearly high on him. Alan Clark, clearly high on him. Happy to get Chad Scott on board from West Virginia. I think that, and adding, the other piece of it was adding additional people to the room. Mike Belmonte, the new assistant quarterback coach, elevating Kenoto Hudson to Nichols coach. Sark talked a little bit about how that's going to allow them to coach a little bit better and a little bit more. Taking Pete Kwiatkowski's edge duties away from him allows him to coordinate the defense more, for example. And I just think that Sark feels really good about how they were able to handle that. And of all the things that have happened in the last month, that's taken center stage here, right, for Texas. And so that's been his biggest priority in the last month, probably that, and Brandon Harris retooling the entire GM section or off-field section of the team. But I feel like he feels like he hit a pretty good shot. Like, I'm not saying he thinks he hit a home run, but he doesn't feel like he came up short, if that makes sense. What did you think? What were your takeaways? DeAndre Moore injury, Jerry? You want to talk about that?
My general, I thought, look, I think Sark made really, really, really good hires. Now, I'm not just saying that because it's Coffee and Football and on Texas football. I think he made really strong hires. And we're going to talk about this more in recruiting when we talk about recruiting today. But what he said about Mark Orfe, very, very interesting. So I'm not going to hit on that now. We'll hit on that in recruiting because I thought that was an interesting statement that Sark made, and it was very telling of the future in recruiting for Texas. But on a day when Sark's going to meet with the media, the on-field assistant coaches are going to get the majority of the mention, right, as they should. Dwayne Aquina, Chad Scott, Mark Orfe, Alan Clark. But I think the in-house recruiting staff additions, personnel department additions were really, really big for the future of recruiting for Texas football. I know NIL, but everything has to get to that point with these kids. You have to get these kids to campus. You have to know the right buttons to push, the right people to know to get these kids on campus. And I thought the Aaron Joe, Josh Dunson, I think those are really good hires for the state of Georgia, for the state of Florida moving forward. So I think Sark, he knows he's got a really, really talented team. And these guys are going to they're going to, again, be one of the most talented rosters in the country. And he knows that. And if you just hire good teachers and coaches around that and guys that can convey his culture and his message, then things tend to continue to roll right along. And it's not a finished product yet, but they continue to roll right along with your ultimate goal of winning the national championship. So I think the guys he added were really strong, all the way down to those in-house recruiting guys and those staffers. I think those are really, really solid hires by Sark. On the injury front, we kind of said yesterday on Coffee and Football and then on TexasFootball.com that I was waiting to see what Sark was going to say, but DeAndre Moore is out this spring. Similar, look, Matthew Golden, Jahdae Barron both had toe injuries. Matthew Golden had his taken care of after spring practice. I think with DeAndre Moore, very similar injury, played through it at the end of the year. Instead of trying to work through spring practice on it, just go ahead and get it taken care of now. It's nothing that's going to affect him. You see, it didn't affect Matthew Golden at all, right? The guy just keeps getting faster. But it's not going to affect DeAndre Moore long term, but you just want him to be 100% healthy going in the next year, and there's no reason to push that through spring and not just get it taken care of now. And what that means for me, we're going to talk about the young DBs later in the show, but what that means for me is Dalen McCutcheon, Aaron Butler, they're going to get a lot of reps now. Jamie French already going to get a lot of reps, but with DeAndre Moore out limited, probably I think out, then you're going to have Ryan Wingo and you're going to have Parker Livingstone as your outside guys. But that gives real opportunity to Dalen McCutcheon, who was recruited in the DeAndre Moore role. And then Aaron Butler gives him a chance to break through. And then obviously Jamie French, Khalil Lockett's more of an outside guy. But with that comes a lot of opportunity for the young guys to get a lot of reps and push their way into the rotation. That's what this is going to afford for these guys.
Hey, that's just a great point. Push their way into the rotation. Make themselves indispensable.
Yep.
This is your opportunity. Now, you're young. Both players are young. McCutcheon in particular is a full year younger. But if you make yourself so good during this time period, you will get on the field. You will this is your opportunity to go earn trust.
Yep.
Go do it. And so I think that's great stuff there, Jerry.
And Jamie French, somebody asked, could Jamie French play slot? I think Jamie French can play anywhere. I mean, I'm really high on Jamie French. I think he's got the football intelligence, the overall intelligence, the ability to process, just being around the kid, having a lot of conversations with him and the staff at Mandarin. I think that guy can play anywhere, any of the three spots at Texas in the scheme at wide receiver. Yeah, and the question there is, even though he's really, really talented and really, really smart and ahead of the game, I think in terms of his football IQ and understanding, it also depends on how much you want to put on a guy's plate in the spring of his freshman year, because you can overload him and slow down his process at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see what Sark does with Jamie French in that regard. Does he just work at a couple of spots? Do you really work at all three potentially? That feels like a lot to put on a kid in March, April. But if they feel like Jamie French, I'll say this for Jamie French. If we hear he's working at all of them, that means they think the guy's a whiz. That's like the same thing you were hearing about Cedric Baxter early on, right? Oh, yep. Pass pro good. We can motion him out to the receiver spot. We can do everything we want with Cedric Baxter from day one. If you start hearing Jamie French is working out at every receiver spot, that is an incredibly strong sign for him.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get to this clip of Sark talking about the spring game, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone out there about Austin Underground.
Yeah, absolutely. Since 2004, Austin Underground has specialized in difficult underground commercial installations. The team's engineering background gives Austin Underground the ability to perform work other firms often consider too risky. Rick Vavro and his team, like Tony, offer an end-to-end client experience, including seamless communication, budgeting, staffing, and top-notch trade partners. And most importantly, they produce solid quality work each and every time. That's Austin Underground. Make sure you also check out their sister company if you have large road work projects to do. Texas Road. Rick has, I think, 3 different degrees from the University of Texas, an engineer and entrepreneur through and through. That's Austin Underground and Rick Vavro and his team.
Thank you, Bobby. And so, yes, guys, Sark, of course, was asked about the spring game yesterday and the reason why there wouldn't be one Here is his answer.
We're not having a spring game so people don't tamper with our players. They could go out and catch 5 touchdowns on that Saturday. They couldn't go in the portal anyway. Okay, that's not the premise of what we're doing. People are going to tamper with our players, whether we like it or not. That's fine. Hopefully we've built a culture. They believe in the development of the other guys before them in our program, that they feel like this is the best place for them. We're not having a spring game because I got 27 new faces on my roster that I need to take time to develop. And that development starts at the beginning of spring ball, where we've got to really build a foundation of understanding the whys of what we do, from how we practice to the drills that we do to the foundational aspects of the offense, the defense, the special teams, of where we build and then where we grow from there. Now, the challenge for us as a coaching staff is to grow quickly. That we've got to build the foundation, then we've got to grow, because I do believe we have a talented football team, but we have some youth and we have some inexperience. And I'm really, pressing upon everybody in our program, coaches, staff members included, to take the next step. And to develop the leadership that's needed on this team, because who we were a year ago individually, we've got to be better than this year, right? We can't remain the same. And so everybody's got to grow, and that's the task that we're challenged with.
So there you go.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We'll talk about whether or not the tampering stuff. Okay, I almost think that's a different thing. What I love about what Sark just talked about, he said he's got 27 new faces. That's 22 high school guys and 5 portal signees. So what I love is that he's sticking to the basics with those guys. He wants to instill the culture, get them up to speed, and then go forward. And so that's how you build teams and build success over time. You get everybody's buy-in, or at least as many people's buy-in as humanly possible, right? That are going to really buy in, and then you get them going in the same direction. And to not skip that step with a third of your roster, 27 guys, effectively, is a big thing, and a smart move by a veteran coach. I mean, Sark is now a quote-unquote veteran coach. And so I like what he's doing. I like the idea of it. As far as the spring game is concerned, Jerry, I understand what he's saying. Look, April 26th, the portal's already closed. They can't enter by the time the game is there. I just wonder, well, if you would have had it, if the game would have been April 19th instead of April 26th, then the portal would have been open afterwards. And so, but my thought on this for Steve Sarkisian or anybody that's involved in it, and the thing that I love about what he said is he admits there's tampering. I mean, he's not living in fantasy land. That's the one thing that gets me about some of these coaches. They live in fantasy land like these things don't happen, or want to live in fantasy land. Sark's been very pragmatic as it relates to that. As it relates to recruiting, he's very pragmatic, Jerry. Okay, you committed, but we're still going to recruit you.
Right.
He understands the game, and I think it's that approach that has suited him. And not just about the spring game, Jerry and Blake, but overall, that pragmatic approach of, okay, we're still going to recruit you. We're going to do it our way. I think this is the way to go about and doing it. And it doesn't mean that we're going to be crazy and do stupid stuff and try to recreate the world, but we're going to be pragmatic and go about our business and see where that leads us. That plus the fact that he wants to start and kind of indoctrinate those 27 players into the Texas way of doing things and cares about that. It always goes back to blocking and tackling first, right, Jerry?
Yeah. By the way, I was supposed to say Sark's pullover game was on point. I bet those have sold out since the press conference. That was a really good pullover. That was really high end stuff right there. Look, everybody's tampering. I think we know that. Everybody. Let's just be real about college athletics right now. I think there's other layers to it as well. I agree with what Bobby said. Look, I think the Arch Manning first spring practice can turn into a real circus from a media standpoint. as well. I think there's something there with that. I also think that, somebody's got to be the trailblazers on where I think college football is headed in a lot of ways. I expect in the future we see more of the Matt Rule, Steve Sarkisian thoughts on spring football. So maybe the tampering is kind of what is used, but what's behind it all is maybe a change a lot of these coaches have been talking about for a while. And who's going to be the trailblazers of that? Who's going to step out there at the big schools and say, you know what? This needs to change. Here's why this needs to change. When talking amongst college coaches, because I guarantee you this, Bobby, Nebraska and Texas won't be the last two to do this. They were just going to end up being the trailblazers of doing this.
I like his idea of using OTA type situations too, because he also talked about getting his coaches up to speed too. I mean, Lyle and Clark. I mean, this is going to be a new way to practice because look, Lyle and Clark's now head of the edges. Okay, so what does Pete Kwiatkowski do? Does he go work with the edges, or does he work more with the full team more often? You've got some other pieces to that's going to be there. You also got to coach your coaches. I mean, while Dwayne Akina has almost 40 years of coaching experience, I guess, Mark Orfe and Kenoto Hudson, how are they going to coach the DBs? How's that going to look? Right. And I think all of that put together makes it interesting.
We got a super chat here from Jack regarding Sark's presser. Thank you, Jack, for the super chat. As always, he says, what a pleasure it is to hear a Sark presser compared to most coaches. He mentioned needing to get young players more experience in the first 4 games, but who do you think fits here among redshirt freshmen and sophomores and maybe even new incoming freshmen?
I think a lot of that depends on what else happens in the portal in the spring for Texas, what they add at a couple of positions. But as far as the young guys, though the Ohio State game, that's going to be about your most experienced players. But then the following 3 games, you're talking Nate Kipples of the world. You're talking on the offensive line, maybe Jaden Chapman. Those guys getting some snaps or a lot of snaps potentially. You're getting to young running backs, James Simon, the younger receivers. Then you're talking about the D linemen, who you're proud. The Myron Charles. If one of those freshman D linemen plays considerable snaps against Ohio State, he's a future star. Bottom line.
Agree.
I mean, that's an unbelievable. That would be an unbelievable scenario. That means you probably got a first round pick one day. But then the 3 games after, those younger D linemen, right, working those guys in. Some of your younger secondary players. It could be at corner. The Santana Wilsons of the world, Cade Phillips, Caleb Chester, seeing how spring goes for those guys, and the safeties, the young safeties. I mean, Xavier Phil Same's been in the program for a year, but he redshirted. We're going to talk about these guys a little later. So those secondary guys as well. I think those are the areas I really point to.
I'm on board with Jerry on that. Who are they? Got to get Jamie French and Khalil Lockett some snaps early to see how they look, not against your team, but against others. James Simon, got to get him some snaps to see if he can carry the rock more than 25 times to 50 times as a true freshman, right? Is he ready? Does he add something to the list? Then I think you're going to see somebody at tight end.
Yeah.
You're going to see a third tight end outside of Spencer Shannon and Jordan Washington. So is that going to be Nick Townsend? Is that going to be Emory Winston? Is it going to be both of them? I don't know. But we'll see where that goes. I think there are a number of talented players on the Texas roster, and does Ty Anthony Smith really see a lot more time this year? Instead of 10 snaps a game or 5 snaps a game, does he start seeing 15 to 20? Those kind of guys where you're just looking for the little extra from them to see what they have and see if they're future guys for you.
All right, well, let's switch gears and talk a little recruiting. Jerry, what's the latest there?
Yeah, so Kenny Baker extended a new offer yesterday to a defensive lineman out of Petal, Mississippi. So Texas is messing around in Mississippi a little more than in recent classes. This is Corey Wells, over the ball player, about 6'4", 6'4.5", 290. Petal's had a lot of really good players over the years. Out of Mississippi, so I mean, Jarraylen McCoy, former LSU commitment, an edge prospect, will be visiting in March. Out of Mississippi as well. Obviously, Jamian Winfield at Richardson High is originally from Mississippi, but it's good to see Texas doing their homework on D linemen all across the Southeast in every state. But this is a guy who we expect to visit in the spring unofficially, but an over-the-ball player right now. We'll see how that develops in college, whether that's at Texas or somebody else. He's got the natural strength. He's got quick first couple of steps. We'll see how that lateral ability kind of develops with him as that frame develops, to see if he can become more than an over-the-ball player. But again, Texas offers another Southeast region defensive lineman. He's got all the SEC offers. You would think he would with his talent level, but a guy that is the most recent offer. And look, I'll say this: I don't think Lowland Clark has done offering players. I don't think Mark Orfe's done offering players. I doubt Dwayne Akeen has done offering players. I expect Texas to continue to evaluate and offer more 2026 guys. Try to get these guys up to campus, as many as these guys as possible, and then go from there with your evaluation process. I also wanted to say, somebody asked last night on Talking Ball about Tyler Atkinson and said something about his Texas out. I checked with a source very close to that recruitment. Texas is definitely not out on Tyler Atkinson. I'll still be surprised if he doesn't make his way back to campus before he makes a final decision. I'll be surprised on Tyler Atkinson. But again, we're at 37 official visitors right now. Another new offer here at defensive line. I expect more offers to come on defense, especially. We'll see if Chad Scott offers anybody else at running back. We mentioned yesterday that Chad Scott has also made contact with Amari Latimer, the running back from Sandy Creek that that Tashard Choice was very high on. And I do think Texas plans to bring him in. We'll see when that date gets set.
I got to say this, Jerry, from watching him, he may be the most powerful at the point of attack we've watched. Yeah. And I'll also mention, knowing Mississippi geography like I do, Petal, Mississippi is only like 5 or 10 minutes away from Hattiesburg, so they can visit 2 and 1 there.
Tristan Keys, all those guys, yeah. And by the way, I wanted to mention this. So what Sark said about Mark Orfe yesterday, we talked about this when he was hired. But what Sark said yesterday even took it to another level for me. He talked about Jeff Carey asked when my birthday is May 10th. I'll be 50, but we're not putting that sign up. In May 10th. But we're going to do the opposite of putting it. You can put a casket up or something, but not the sign celebrating my 50th. But what Sark said about Mark Orfe, he wanted a strong Florida recruiter. That was telling, Bobby, because I'm just here to tell you, I think Texas is about to recruit the state of Florida even much harder than they ever have before, and that includes the first 3 years here with Sark as the move to the SEC has happened. I think you're going to start to see Texas offering 15, 20 kids in cycle from Florida. It's going to surprise me if not, because Chad Scott is from Florida. Kenodo Hudson is from Florida. Aaron Joe is from Florida. And Sark talked about Mark Orfe. I mean, Jeff Banks has recruited Florida. I think you're about to see a real push in the Sunshine State from the Texas staff. And that's good for me, because who doesn't want to go see prospects around palm trees and beaches? I'm in. Who wants to make who wants to make the next recruiting trip with me to Florida?
Hey, Jerry, offers and concentration of them. You mentioned would you say 15 to 25 in Florida?
15, 20 is my bet. We get up to that in a couple of classes.
What are they? What's offhand? Just I'm trying to think through this a little bit. Offhand, what do you think they offer in Texas a year? 50, 45, 40?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go back and look at that this year. But maybe we track that, not just who they ended up with or really recruiting hard, but number of offers by state, and see what floats. Because we already know they're doing more than ever in North Carolina, right? And even they're doing more in New Jersey, up the Atlantic coast. I mean, they've offered 3, and they're in on 3 guys up there. And so maybe that's something we track year over year, is the concentration of offers and scholarship offers by state, because I think that tells you how they're hoping to fill out their class a little bit more. I did want to mention this as well as it relates to recruiting. Texas right now, Jerry, you mentioned all those Mark Orfe. Don't forget about Aaron Joe and Josh Dunson, the guys that Brandon Harris brought in. Like I said, when Sark talked about how he filled out his staff, I think that he was very happy with how he did it. Sometimes you can be reticent or kind of reluctant about how you did it or second guessing yourself. I didn't sense that at all yesterday when he was talking. So hats off to those guys. You have anything more on recruiting you want to mention this morning, Jerry, before I give a little Gunnar Helm update?
Now go ahead with Gunnar. Then we got to show Tre Johnson some love and get into the inevitable RT talk.
Okay, gotcha. All right, hey, this is Gunnar Helm from the Combine, guys. He ran that 4.84, but y'all all know he came down and had an issue with his ankle. I talked to a source close to Gunnar yesterday. He's continued to get Zoom interviews with NFL teams. Those things are going very, very well. He is continuing to try to get his ankle healed and prepared to run at Texas Pro Day. They are still not sure if he's going to be able to be healed in time to do that. But someone that we're definitely keeping an eye out for and hoping the best. But as of right now, unsure if he's going to run at Pro Day, but is still going through the draft process and picking up a little steam from different teams wanting to talk and interview with him.
All right, before we talk Tre Johnson, Jerry, first I need you to talk sunglasses and tell everyone out there about Gooder.
I could definitely do that. Why Gooder? Because they're awesome. All right, into Reed. Are we good there? Oh, okay, we'll continue. They're stylish sunnies starting at only $25 a pair. I have like 5 of them. I've lost one, so I guess I'm down to 4. 1 year warranty. I got to read it. 30-day free returns. You don't need it. Throw that in the trash can. They're lightweight and comfortable. They're 100% polarized. No slip, no bounce. Vibrant colors and sleek styles. There's a pair of Gooders for every personality out there in the world. Designed for both everyday wear and active individuals that love to run, hike, bike, and much, much more. When do you wear your Gooders? I can tell you when I wear my Gooders. Walking, biking, driving, anything, going to the beach on a hike, playing pickleball, you name it, you're going to wear your Gooders. That's just the beach, Texas women's beach volleyball team. I've seen them with their Gooders on. You can wear them playing beach volleyball too if that's your thing, because they're so affordable. You don't have to worry about losing or breaking them. You can have a pair for every single occasion. This is true. If you need a new pair of Sunnies, Gooder is giving On Texas football listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/OnTexas all caps and use code OnTexas all caps for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Put that in the trash. 100% satisfaction. Add a 0. Again, that's gooder.com/OnTexas all caps for free shipping. And Blake, what would you do with your Gooders?
No, I tell you what I would do. I would wear them and save a little money, obviously. And speaking of saving money, I need to tell everyone out there about Mint Mobile, because I don't know about y'all, but I like keeping my money where I can see it. Unfortunately, traditional big wireless carriers also seem to like keeping my money too. After years of overpaying for wireless, I finally got fed up with those crazy high bills, the bogus fees, the free perks that actually cost more in the long run. Excuse me. And I made the switch to Mint Mobile. You can say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with those premium wireless plans starting at just $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with the Mint Mobile plan. Bring your own phone number, obviously your contacts as well. Ditch that overpriced wireless. Get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for just $15 a month. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/OnTexas. Again, that's mintmobile.com/OnTexas. An upfront payment of $45 is required for that 3-month 5 gig plan, which is equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, and then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. All right, let's talk Tre Johnson here. He got some big honors yesterday, guys. He was named the SEC Freshman of the Year. Of course, that's one of 3 that he's had so far. He was also named to the All-SEC second team and the All-Freshman team in the SEC as well. Quite the year.
Yeah, we need to give him some love. I mean, this is this to win Freshman of the Year in the SEC, talent in this conference. The season he's had, I know it was a rough ending to his home career at the University of Texas because he is going top 7, 8 in the NBA draft, and that's a stacked NBA draft, by the way. Not like last year's, which was pitiful for NBA standards. Tre Johnson, tremendous freshman season, got better. He did improve no matter the Texas. He got better on defense. He started reading play. He started reading double teams quicker when those happened for him this year. He made some strides at Texas this year. The kid's an incredibly hard worker, and he will go on to the NBA. And while he's not going to stay at Texas very long, I think this is a guy that Texas fans will have an easy time cheering for in the NBA because that guy leaves it all on the court. I mean, that guy leaves it, even though he had an 0 for 14, the ball just wouldn't go down the other night. The guy, the fiery toughness he's shown. He won a state championship at Lake Highlands. His father coached there. It meant something for him to stay in the state of Texas and go to college in the state of Texas. He had that in-state pride in him. He could have gone anywhere. And it really came down to Texas and Baylor for him. Look, he had a tremendous freshman year, and I wanted to applaud him for that. And obviously, tough. If they lose tomorrow at 2:30 to Vanderbilt, that will probably be the last time we see him in Austin or Texas. But he's had a hell of a year. He's going to go on and be a tremendous pro. I don't know if he's going to be Richard Hamilton or Ray Allen. I think he's going to fall in line there somewhere if he stays healthy throughout his pro career. But he's going to be a tremendous one, and I think he'll be an ambassador for Texas. I think he'll always be a Longhorn.
Dude, if he hits either of those two, those are great players. Jerry.
Yeah.
I mean, Graham, a long-time NBA career. Hey, I don't keep up with basketball on a national perspective like I do football. Does he have any chance to win National Freshman of the Year, or is that somebody else?
Cooper Flag. That one's done. Yeah, that one's a done deal. But being a freshman All-American in this class is really high praise up there. I mean, you have some tremendous talents. I mean, Rutgers season didn't go great with Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, but they're studs. You have Edgecombe at Baylor, who didn't have a great season either. Elite talent, but he's going to be a first team freshman All-American, and people are going to look back in 12 years on that group of freshman All-American and say NBA All-Star, All-Pro, NBA All-Star, 12-year pro. That's what that list is going to look like. That's how good this freshman class is, and to go top 8 in this draft is really, really saying something because it's a tremendous draft. It's going to have a bunch of future NBA All-Stars and All-Pros in it. It's a great class.
It's a homegrown draft class. I mean, who knows what they have overseas, right?
Yeah.
But it's a homegrown draft class compared to last year.
And obviously our team, I mean, no update there. They play Vanderbilt tomorrow. I mean, I think we all pretty much think we know where this is headed, but it's all going to come down to what Texas does, how long they play, and all that good stuff. And by the way, Texas is a couple of wins away from being right back in the NCAA tournament. Will that happen? It doesn't look like it the way they've played of late. But you beat Vanderbilt, and then you're right back on the bubble. You're on the bubble. You're right back in it. And that doesn't – I don't think that – I'm not saying that has anything to do with RT, but I do think, look, Texas is a couple of wins away from being in the NCAA tournament, and you never know what happens. You just never know. It's not likely. But you look around these conference tournaments and somebody gets hot, a team gets hot for a couple of games. That's all it takes. And you win a couple of games and you're right back in the tournament. So we'll see. I'm going to answer this one because there's a lot of questions here. Is the Bama basketball coach? And look, everybody has interest, but Nate Oates will end up in the NBA. He's got a $15 million buyout. I just don't. I don't think that's realistic for anybody, and his next stop is thought to be the NBA. Somebody said hopefully RT lands in a good spot. I want to say this. I've heard South Florida has real interest in him. I was told that Sunday, and I told that again yesterday. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there for RT if things go the way we do think it is at Texas.
I kind of thought that was your burner account asking about the Bama coach because the username is jumping for joy mode.
Yeah, jumping for joy.
So I thought that may have been
you. Good question.
All right.
I'll be at the game tomorrow, by the way. I'll be.
Oh, you're going, Bob.
Yep, absolutely. Be at the game
real
tomorrow.
Real glutton for punishment, you are. All right.
I saw him lose to Vanderbilt once this year. I might see him lose a second time. How about that?
Also, it's not only my birthday. We got to say happy birthday to a couple of our viewers. UTX Horns was wishing me the happy birthday. Said we share the same birthday. So happy birthday to you, UTX Horns. And Jay Tomp, it's his birthday as well. He says, hook 'em, love you guys. Happy birthday to you as well, Jay. So
happy birthday, guys. March 11th, right. Not quite the Ides of March, but close enough, maybe.
That's right.
Stick it in Caesar's back there.
Ed B's working on that, making that Florida recruiting trip with me in the chat. I think that's hilarious.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Let's see here.
How many stops do you make when you go down I-10?
There's only one. That's around the turnoff, or if you're going to go down towards Destin Way, there in Alabama, maybe down Gulf Shores Way. It's funny though, on the road on I-10, I have different stops I like to make. I like to stop in the little towns in Florida and just go to the convenience stores there, just kind of be around the people, right? It's kind of fun. Those trips are fun. But the one Buc-ee's I normally stop at. It also depends on how fast I'm driving and where I need to go.
Is Buc-ee's your go-to store?
No, Buc-ee's not really. It's normally Racetrack, I think. Racetrack, or I'll send you the picture. But Racetrack has the beef jerky. I like the Robertsons. I like the most. Yeah. Loves has the Robertsons always. So that's normally my go-to.
You're on the road too much when you choose your place to get gas by the beef jerky they offer.
Now we're getting into gas station talk. Quick Trip is good. David Rawls likes Loves. Here's the problem with Buc-ee's. They're too successful. It's like the line for gas. There's a line for gas.
And they have 60 pumps.
Unless I'm running from a hurricane, I don't really like to sit in a line for gas. Who would choose to sit in a line for gas? That seems like an emergency situation. So congrats on your success, Buc-ee's.
There you go.
Yes, they deserve it. They deserve it.
All right. By the way, Chris McDonald says, just saw the sign. Props to Krista and happy birthday, Blake. I actually need to also tell one of our viewers who made this sign, thank you. Callie Mercer made that sign and put a lot of hard work into it. It does look great. I was surprised at how big it was when I came in today. But
thanks ahead of time. Yeah. Thanks ahead of time to Colt for his $39.99 super chat on his dad's birthday.
No, Colt's sleeping. It's spring break. Plus, he has a game later today. So
wake up, lazy.
He's skipping track practice. Oh, and then
I will say this. This is a good point on gas station stops. Clean bathrooms are highly underrated.
Sure.
Very true.
Strong.
That is the thing about Buc-ee's. You don't have to worry about that.
No.
Yes, definitely. We got a couple of super chats. One from my wife telling me happy birthday. She said, I may have the door incident, but I'm still younger. That is true.
Is that our first super chat from an A&M graduate on this show? Krista, you're a first. That's a first.
Billy Lucci snuck in here once or twice.
Oh, yeah.
Come on now.
Man. And then Jackson S with the super chat. Assuming Jason Flores starts tonight, do you think he will make the move to weekend rotation this year? And if so, when? Actually, Flores is not starting tonight. It's Rarick that will be getting the start tonight, the true freshman from up north, who I'm really, really high on. As far as the rest of your question, I'm finding that out. I will come back to you, Jackson, and answer that for sure. We'll get you the official word on that one. All right, guys. Well, let's talk newcomers in the secondary.
Yes.
Jerry, I know this is something you wanted to discuss, so I'm going to let you take the reins on this.
I was thinking about this, Bobby. Of all the positions at Texas, there may be more in numbers of young defensive backs that we're going to be kind of looking for, watching, waiting to hear for on in the secondary. And it would make sense, right? 5 guys play at one time. But you have in your redshirt group, and we're talking the red shirts, obviously Kobe Black in year 2, Jordan Johnson Rebel in year 2. Seen some of those guys. But Santana Wilson, who I was told once again late last week had a really good redshirt year. I think Texas is high on Santana Wilson. Now there's a new corners coach coming in as well. But then you have Xavier Filsaime. So I'll coming off his redshirt year. Then you have the 3 freshman corner / nickels. Boy, that's a good look. Grayson Littleton, Cade Phillips, Caleb Chester. Grayson Littleton, of note, was heavily recruited by Mark Orfe at Rutgers. That's of note because that's his area in Florida that he really recruited in. Orfe seems to have an eye for those really fast guys that play corner if you look at the NFL draft. Caleb Chester's my sleeper in the 25 class. Cade Phillips, obviously, pound for pound, one of the better athletes in the program. Then at safety, Zell Hicks, Jonah Williams as well, Bobby. So there is a lot of young talent in the secondary, and there's going to be opportunities for these guys with new sets of eyes at the corner and safety position. That brings a different evaluation into play. So it's going to be interesting to see which of these guys can potentially push through. David Keith Williams says Grayson Littleton destined to play nickel. That's going to be interesting because when I went to Wiregrass Ranch to see Grayson Littleton, teams, Texas included, recruiting him as a nickel / corner. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up and see where Orfe sees him at.
Jerry, you didn't mention 3 guys that 4 that I think are going to play a role somehow. Kobe Black is just a true sophomore.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's theoretically a really young guy. He just happens to be at the top of the pecking order right now because he got time, right?
Yeah.
But he's the same age as Santana Wilson, theoretically. Just got there half a semester earlier. Jordan Johnson Rubel, same age as Xavier Filsaime, and played a little bit more. And then don't forget about Wardell Mack.
Yeah, guys we saw a little bit of last year.
Yeah, exactly. And so my point to add on top of what you were saying is that we're not looking at 1 or 2 guys back there.
Yeah.
We're looking at a whole group and how they're going to piece together. The question I have, and we think that Jalen Gilbo is going to get some time at corner this year. So is he going to fight Kobe Black for that starting spot? Or is he going to go, rotate back to nickel some? We don't know yet. Jelani McDonald might be pushed down to nickel to get more size down there. There's a lot of permutations. And I want to go back to something that Dwayne Aquina has said before, and Rod Babers reminded me of when we were talking. Get the best 5 on the field. So how do we do that? Doesn't matter what positions, get the best 5 on the field. So who out of these guys is going to be the best 5? You think Michael Taft is in that. You think Jelani McDonald's in that. You think Malik Muhammad is in that. Those are 3. So does Derek Williams join? Is it Kobe Black or who? Jalen Gilbo? How do you get the best 5 on the field next year?
Yeah.
And what do the permutations and machinations all look like, right, when you bring them all together? And I think we don't know yet. To your point, Jerry, I mean, look, Cade Phillips may go out there and be a world beater. Grayson Littleton may be. I mean, I've heard some really nice things about him behind the scenes, and I'm glad you brought him up early in that conversation. And maybe that's why you did it. But the reality of it is get the best 5 on the field. That's going to be the Texas coaches' conundrum. Last year, it was fairly easy. Kick Barron out the nickel, All right, kick Barron out to corner and play insert Jalen Gilbo, and let's roll our hands and go. Right?
Yeah.
That was really simple.
I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because look, I think guys are going to be moved around and looked at different spots in the secondary, especially with two new sets of eyes. And Kenoto Hudson, obviously, his eyes were on those guys last year in his role. He's moved into that Nichols coach role. But it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think, I know Gilbo played some corner as a freshman. A lot of this could be dependent on, does Texas play more man this year? That could change your calculus at corner. Somebody asked, is Kobe Black a true safety? I think Kobe Black is a corner like Ryan Watts was a corner in college, but that doesn't mean you play corner for your pro career if you make it that far. Now, I think there's some similarities there in some ways. Is Gilbo fast enough to be a corner? I think that's scheme dependent. I don't think you're going to put him on an island and man a lot and put him on the fast wideout. I don't think you're going to do that to him. That's not putting him in necessarily a position to maximize his ability and potential. So it's going to be a mix and match. And somebody mentioned Derek Williams when he gets healthy, obviously factors in a big way. But I think the scheme, does the scheme change a little bit in terms of more man with your corners? If you do that, then does that give the speedier Grayson Littleton, who was recruited by Mark Orfe, or a Santana Wilson, a technician who is a really good athlete as well? Does that give those guys more of an opportunity? We'll see.
All right, we got some questions regarding the defensive backs. But before we get to those, first, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone out there about Bluebird.
Yeah, absolutely. Perry Ricard is a great resource for people in and around the Austin area. For people that need to move and get things done in life, she literally helps people go all over Central Texas and helps them organize things. Let's face it, life can be messy, moving, divorce, having kids, downsizing, losing a loved one. That's big. Life's transition can cause clutter to pile up and chaos to enter our minds and spaces. Through professional organizing, Bluebird helps you end that feeling of being overwhelmed and make your space work for you. Bluebird understands it's no small ask to let a stranger ever come into your home. But with Bluebird, there's no judgment, only efficient plans that can make life's processes, like helping a loved one move into senior living, a divorce, etc., flow with ease. If you need some help, don't be afraid to reach out. Call or text 737-346-7779 to book your free in-person consultation today with Perry Ricard. 737-346-7779. Thanks, Perry.
Thank you, Bobby. And Jerry, one of your favorite products, Joy Mode. Let everyone know about it.
Guess it's time to talk about erections. Here we go. Joy Mode. Bobby. I did that for Bobby.
What the heck, Jerry? Like, at least
that's not right. What am I going to say goodbye to weak erections with Joy Mode Sexual Performance Booster? This all-natural supplement is designed to enhance blood flow. Seems positive. If not, it's bad. Giving you firmer, more reliable erection. But Joy Mode isn't just about better sex. Daily use supports healthier blood vessels, boosts heart health, and enhances your athletic performance for 3, dunking on everybody, running a marathon all in the same day. Expertly formulated and backed by science, it's proven to improve erectile function by 50% in 60 days. Simply mix a pack with water, that's very easy, and feel the effects within 45 minutes. Take control with Joy Mode. Get a boost anytime, anywhere, and never miss a beat, period. Joy Mode features 4 simple, proven ingredients. Unlike prescription options that involve doctor visits and managing refills, pill bottles on the floor everywhere, Joy Mode provides a straightforward, effective solution. Join over 200,000 men who trust Joy Mode to boost their performance without the side effects. Start a subscription and save up to 30%. Keep your performance at its best without any interruptions. If you're looking to take your game to the next level, nice, funny read, visit tryjoymode.com and use code ONTexas at checkout for 20% off single purchases and 30% off subscription orders. That's tryjoymode.com and use that code ONTexas, all caps, for 20% off single purchases and 30% off subscription orders. And that ends the erection part of the show.
Oh, Jerry. I mean, just,
I try to entertain Bobby. I try to entertain the chat through Bobby's reactions.
Just try to walk through things before you start running and jumping. And
lots of comments about Bobby's reactions in the chat.
I mean, just morning. Right off. I mean, give people a chance to like breathe first.
Oh man, good stuff. All right, we got some questions here regarding defensive backs, like this one from Courtney Hall. Is Kobe Black a better version of Ryan Watts? And feels to me maybe a Cam Chancellor type.
He's not as big as Cam Chancellor.
No,
that's for sure. I think that Kobe Black may be a guy that plays more on the ball than Ryan Watts. Like makes more plays on the ball than Ryan did. What do you think of that? I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a comparison of Ryan for Kobe Black and Xavier Filsaime. I don't know. I don't know that Ryan Watts is a good one for Kobe Black, and I know Cam Chancellor isn't a good one for Xavier Filsaime. Who are you thinking, Jerry, for those two? Maybe.
I need to think about Kobe. It's not going to be anybody at Texas for Kobe Black. I need to think about that one.
The only guy that's had that kind of size is Quentin Jammer.
Yeah,
I mean, Kobe Black is a big corner. I mean, he's bigger physically than Ryan Watts. Maybe not as tall.
I was kind of thinking about the guy from A&M that had the pick six without running the mouth all the time.
Will Hill. Yeah, he seems more stringy than
he's still more stringy, but makes plays on the ball. Guy's got some ball skills to him.
Yeah, that's fair. What about Filsaime?
I need to think about that. I haven't thought about that.
Wow.
That's a good one.
We can
I'd like to see a little bit more of it.
Well, let's take another question. This one from Ed B. He says, is Gilbo fast enough to be a corner? And is Kobe Black a true safety?
I do think with Gilbo, you're not going to put him on an island and man against the fast receivers. Like, I don't think, and I'm not saying he can't run. He can run, but it's like what Texas did with Gavin Holmes, right, Bobby? Gavin Holmes would play against the vertical fast guys. So I think in Texas' current scheme, I think Gilbo can play corner. I think if you move to more man, then it gets a little more matchup dependent for him. And I'm not saying he can't run. Somebody in the chat, by the way, said he's got extra motivation. He's going to be a father soon. That does add extra motivation in your last year before the NFL draft. But I think he's going to have a solid season. Is he just a straight up corner you can put on an island? I don't know about that. But I think he's going to play well within the scheme.
Man, it feels to me, Ike Aurelia says, feels to me similar to Andrew Makuba. If he is, Texas has a big time winner. Big time winner, in my opinion.
And Brian Berg says, congrats to Puna Ford on going to the Rams. 3-year, $30 million. 17 of that guaranteed. So
that buys a hell of a house on Hilton Head Island.
Yeah,
it does.
All 5'11" of him too. 5'11" defensive tackle in the NFL.
For those that have never heard my story, I went to see him at Hilton Head High School, and literally the coach BJ Payne pulled him out of class, and when he walked out of class, I couldn't believe how long his arms were. It's like, dude, he could open the door from a desk. Like from sitting in a desk could open the door into a classroom. He, to this day, and I think he'll always be undefeated in this regard, the longest arms I've ever seen on a 5'11" human being. I think I could stay in this business 30 more years and never see arms that long on a 5'11" person. I just don't think it's possible. I mean,
long enough to hold against Oklahoma State in the closing minutes, too.
See, that's his problem. His arms are too long. He's the only guy that ever get called for holding as defensive lineman.
Still one of the most chicken calls of all time against the University of Texas. I mean, just horrible call. Unbelievable.
Frank wants to know, did y'all think that Puna would make it in the NFL this long?
No, not me. I mean, look, I thought he might hang on as an undrafted free agent. because you need numbers at defensive line in the NFL, and there's not. I mean, there is a limited supply, but I had no clue. I mean, I'm so happy for him. I thought Charles Omenihu would, conversely, because he has the size, right? And he started having more production the older he got. Puna was productive almost immediately, but you wondered if he would wane over time because of his size. But, man, congrats to those guys. I mean,
by the way, for people that don't know, so Puna was 5'11" and 5/8 at the combine. His wingspan was 80 1/4 inches. So essentially 6'8". A 6'8" tall man. He had the arm length of a 6'8" man at 5'11". That's truly remarkable arm length for somebody his height. That's how you get called for holding.
You just put your arm out.
Now,
he arm barred somebody.
I mean, that's just a wild number at 5'11" and 5'8". I'll never see that again on a defense.
What are the worst calls ever against Texas? Is that the worst call you like most
pretty bad.
Consequential worst call against Texas?
Well, if the worst may have been when the ref sideline guy ran into Charlie Strong and threw the flag on him.
That was subsequent. That started a series of events.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the worst singular call.
That was going to be my pick.
That was unbelievable.
I mean, literally, it was like,
oh my gosh, Chris Weatherford has a huge one that changed the game.
Yeah. Non-safety against Alabama, says Chris Weatherford.
I mean, Texas wins that game if they call that correctly.
Most likely, yeah.
That
happened, but didn't that happen in the third quarter?
March Madness, 5-second call versus zone.
I thought it was fourth.
Was it fourth?
No,
because Alabama was going out of their own end zone, and their end zone was going north to south.
Yeah, it was third quarter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, had to
but
be.
That changed the game. Yeah. Because I mean, you get a safety out of that. You're punting the ball from the 20. That was a huge non-call in that game.
So, all right, we got some more questions to get to this morning, but first, lots of people's birthdays today. Horace Robinson says, today is my son's 16th birthday. Can you please wish Caden a happy birthday for me? Happy birthday, Caden.
Happy birthday, buddy. And many more.
Yeah.
Just 24 more to get to Blake's level.
It'll be there before you know it.
Snap your fingers and you're there, man.
That's right.
Hey, Blake, you should ask a question to the chat.
What question?
Let's ask the chat a question. All right, you ready?
Ready.
If you're running in a race and you pass the guy in second place, what place would you be in?
I'm not going to go into detail on why we're asking that, but yes, if you're running a race and you pass second place, what place would you be in? We'll see what the answers are. We'll go from there.
I'll give you all the Aggies answer after y'all all answer.
Major Alexander with the super chat says, happy birthday, Blake. You're 40. Trust me, it only hurts in the morning.
That's the truth.
And then we have a super chat here from Juan Garza. He says, Blake, what's the fundamental difference between Sloss and Pierce? That's a great question. I was actually talking to somebody about that the other day. Honestly, I think it comes down to the details and preparation for the game. And then one of the things that I was told about one of the main differences is scouting, advanced scouting. But to me, it's the details. Obviously, Sloss is doing very well, looking for that 14th win tonight, 14 in a row, I might add. But I mean, attention to detail is what would be my broad answer there, Juan. So thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that.
Good stuff.
We got one here from Jumping for Joy Mode. Who's the fastest player on the team right now?
Let's qualify this, because we talk about, when you talk about speed, are you talking about 10 yards, 40 yards, 100 meters? What are you talking about? Because it could be different answers for all of those.
Yeah.
So what do we take? 40-yard dash?
Yeah.
You want to talk 40-yard dash?
Yeah, let's do 40.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And jumping for joy mode said 40.
Okay. Who are the maybes, Jerry?
Here's the crazy thing. Nobody would have said Matthew Golden last year.
No, they would not. I wouldn't have.
No.
Ryan Wingo would be in that category. Ryan Niblett would be in that category for me.
Xavier Phil. I haven't seen Phil saying he'd be in that category.
Yep.
Who's the Ricky Stewart probably is really in a college strength and conditioning program is probably going to be really quick in a 40.
Okay.
Because he's faster than you think when you see him. Like he's faster in person than on tape. That's a really good question.
Out of the freshman receivers, which one?
French
would be the quickest. Okay. There's not a go away favorite. Like last year, I would have told you that I would have thought it was Isaiah Bond. Obviously, we were wrong, but Isaiah Bond and the year before, in the last 3 years, would have been Xavier Worthy. But there's not a point to it guy right now on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Could Cade Phillips be?
Oh, yeah.
In a college strength and conditioning program, if that guy ain't running low 4.3 in a combine one day, I'll be surprised. After 3 years in a college strength and conditioning program. I mean, he was long jumping 24/7 and qualified for the state in 200. Yeah.
As long as he adds the right weight.
Do what?
As long as he adds the right weight.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody asked about I'll go out on a limb here. I think we're about to see in the next few years the fastest tight end times at the NFL Combine from Texas players ever. And Nick Townsend and Jordan Washington. I think we're about to see a different level of athleticism at tight end at Texas. I'll say that.
They had a good run back in the 2000s with Bo Scaife, then David Thomas, then Jermichael Finley. Those were three good ones in a row.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of
somebody
good
asked about a comp for this is a good one, Bobby. Xavier Crowell. 5'9.5", 215, 210, 215. Tremendous contact balance, really good feet. May not run 4.4, but fast enough. What you got, Bobby?
He runs like Jonathan Brooks
Okay.
near the line of scrimmage. Now, not necessarily downfield. He's got a different gait than Jonathan Brooks, but he edges out of tackles like Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah.
See that subtle move with the leg takeaway?
Yeah.
I thought that the first time I saw him. Now, there may be other guys that he even resembles more, but here's a stretch play. He waits, gives a leg, and takes it away.
Different frame.
Yeah, different frame and different
No,
gait.
no, not the Brooks. I'd say different frame, but somebody at Texas played last year, Jaden Ball.
Oh,
At Florida. Very similar style, different frame, similar power, similar contact balance. Really good player.
I like him a lot, man.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I like Javian Osborne a lot. Mentioned that before on this show. We saw Latterman yesterday.
We love KJ Edwards. Explosive speed.
Yes.
Explosive speed, quickness in pads.
Yeah, I wonder if KJ Edwards isn't like the 40-yard dash winner.
Yeah.
You know, that he's that guy. Somebody else may win the 100, but he may win the 40.
And by the way, the Amari Latimer is, from a power standpoint, is extremely impressive as a high school player. Yeah. So Josh Manning is this is interesting. Is Corell a can't miss or a must get?
Ooh.
I mean, you can almost be both. I think look, if Texas wins out for Xavier Crowell, and he likes Texas a lot. For him, because you knew he did based on the immediate reaction of Choice leaving and then coming right back around pretty quickly after one conversation and saying, I'm going to visit. twice. Boom. So he's been on campus twice. Really likes Texas. Mom really likes Texas. If Texas won that would be an impressive recruiting win, because it's talking about a running back in Jackson, Alabama. That's other visits are Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn. Texas has never been in that battle for a running back in the state of Alabama. That would be a hell of a win for Texas, and I think he's as good as any. AJJ said, do we have any film on Derek Cooper? I think we do, while we're on this subject. And I continue to be told, I talked to somebody last weekend, that Derek Cooper wants to make an unofficial visit to Texas. Chad Scott has talked with him multiple times. Obviously, at Chaminade, Madonna, I think he's already run 10.6 in the 10.6s this spring at 6'1", 205 pounds. This is a guy that I think has pretty special ability, guys. Just at that size. And the guys he's running away from, I mean, this is South Florida guys now. This is legit speed they play against. Some of these uniforms will look familiar. The thing with Derek Cooper, too, is the one thing I always say about running backs like him, he plays the whole game on defense, too. So if you got to kind of catch him in the first quarter to see him with fresh legs in a high school game, because he's playing 80, 85 snaps. And half of those snaps are at running back. So to where you're having to change direction, break tackles, do that repeatedly. Then you turn around and play a safety hybrid linebacker. But this guy, Bobby, has a real height, weight, speed, frame combination, tenacity combination that it almost separates him from a lot of other guys. Definitely does.
Where's all the speed coming from, dude? It's like 10.6 is the new 11 flat.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran a 10.6.
They think he could hit the high 10.4s by the state track meet.
Great.
If he does, he becomes a top 5-10 prospect in America in the class. I think he's a 5-star prospect as it is, but
yeah, he carries the ball high and tight, man. You ain't gonna have to worry about him having a lot of fumbling problems long term. Look, it's the thing that I like about all those running backs. I think Texas is on the right guys.
Yeah.
And
they're on the right guys.
I don't know that any singular one is a must get, as much as they need to get one of that group. Because I think they're on the right guys. I will say that.
Before we get to our last question or two, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone out there about Austin Underground one last time.
Yeah, we really appreciate Rick Vavro and his team at Austin Underground. They've been sponsoring us for almost 2 years now. We really, really appreciate it. Since 2004, Austin Underground has specialized in difficult underground commercial installations. The team's engineering background gives Austin Underground the ability to perform work other firms often consider just too risky. Rick and his team offer an end-to-end client experience, including seamless communication, budgeting, staffing, and top-notch trade partners. And most importantly, they produce solid quality work each and every time. That's Austin Underground. Thank you very much, Rick, and your team.
Okay. And our last question comes from T. Matayan. Says, seems like we need a wide receiver and running back from the portal just based on the injury status and risks. The current players spring could change that. Y'all's thoughts?
I agree.
Yes.
So, I know people are saying, oh, well, we need to wait and see it running back. Yeah, maybe you do, but you're not going to have Cedric Baxter for sure. Right now, I know he's not going to be there. And as good as Trey Wisener was a year ago, who's the bigger back? Are you going to rely on a true freshman or a sophomore to be that had some fumble problems and wasn't necessarily didn't necessarily take advantage of his opportunities very well a year ago? I think I have no problem at running back saying that. And at wide receiver, it's like CJ talks about this, and I know Jerry and I agree. Why wouldn't you take one wide receiver at least every year in the portal? Because you could Texas, with what Texas is, can go out and get a third round or better wide receiver for 1 year, for a 1 year rental just about every year in the portal. That's been proven.
Yeah. So my thoughts for Texas right now is if they take a wide out in the portal, he is absolutely going to be a dude. Like, they aren't just going to take a guy. So if they take somebody, and I think there's one out there, and we'll see if he goes in the portal. It's an absolute dude, like NFL high round draft pick. At running back, I'm very interested in running back because I get what everybody's saying. So this is the way I kind of play off of that right now. If Texas doesn't go to the portal for a running back, that means James Simon had a hell of a spring, and I think he's going to be a really good player. Because until you know when Cedric Baxter can come back and actually help you on the field, till you know that Christian Clark can be all the way back, and then he still has to come back and help you on. They have major injuries. Now, Christian Clark's ahead of schedule. If they'd say, we're good at running back, that means, man, Jarrett Gibson's taking a big step, and James Simon and or Ricky Stewart's, I think he's on a different path physically. They love what they see from the young guys. That's the only reason you wouldn't go there after spring. That means they really like the young backs. So we'll see.
All right, guys. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football, presented by Rick Vavro and Austin Underground. I want to thank Rick and Austin Underground, along with Gooder, Joy Mode, Mint Mobile, and Bluebird Organizing for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in and for the birthday wishes, by the way. For the super chats as well, be sure to head on over to ontexasfootball.com to further the discussion. If you're not a member, become one very easily. Use promo code OTFOG. You'll get an annual subscription for just $49.95. Again, OTFOG is the promo code at ontexasfootball.com. Lock that in for just under $50. It's a great deal. And we would appreciate if you'd hit that like and subscribe button as well. Nearly at 75,000 subscribers, guys. That blows my mind. Thank you all for your support. It definitely means a lot. And Bobby, what do you got later today right here on the YouTube channel?
I'll jump in. I was thinking about that. We have recruiting breakdown. We're going to film that one. Bobby was deep in thought, so I can tell. So I'm going to answer.
I was thinking about.
He was thinking about my read earlier. It was Rod Babers, Jeff, and I just did that for the reaction for the fans. We're gonna record a look at the nickels and corners headed in the spring practice at the University of Texas. We'll have those, and we have a live stream tonight as well.
There you go.
I was deep in thought when Blake said 75,000. You know, I think my ultimate goal may be to fill it as large as DKR.
That's a good one.
You know,
I like it.
That you know. So, anyways, hope we can get there. Thank you all for tuning in this morning. Let us know if you need anything. I want to add this. If you guys have suggestions for us, feel free to leave them. Send me an email on texasfootball@gmail.com. We're in the knee deep in the planning stages for next season, or for this coming season, excuse me, and this summer. As we get ready for spring ball, we're going to start making some altered changes and adding things new, etc. Please send me an email on texasfootball@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions at all, we'd appreciate it. We're here for you guys. I've said this many, many times, but I want to reiterate. Look, I mean, we're here because we love Texas football, and I know you guys do too, and that's why you're here. So let's make this a better place together, a more valuable place to spend your time. So that's it.
Well, we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.